I'm Tony Keat, the Christmas light guy. Do you want to take your display to another level by adding character voices to your singing props? Do you already have singing props but are just using your props to sing songs? Well, that's exactly what I was doing until I added two new characters to my show. Why not use the singing props to tell a story, a funny skit, or introduce your show or songs, or even introduce other props? In this video, I'll show you how to create character voices, edit and create audio files, and create sequences in xLights to make your singing props come to life. Let me show you how. Let's start with the definition of a singing prop. What is a singing prop? I think the easiest way to show you is in xLights. Okay, I've opened up xLights and I'm on the Layout tab. There are two types of singing props, mouth movement props and props with face images. I have 6 props laid out in this example. 4 are wired mouth movement props, such as the singing Christmas trees, the singing light bulb, and the singing snowman. So what do I mean by wired mouth movements? Let's take a look at the singing Christmas tree. I'm going to select it. I'm going to go over to the model window and I'm going to select the faces option. And it's going to pull up the face definition window. Let me make this much bigger so it's easier to see. Okay. As you can see here in the face definition window, there are node ranges defined for face outline, eyes open, eyes closed, and a number of mouth movements. Okay, so let me demonstrate. So if you click on it, xLights will show you what the different face outline looks like. The eyes open, eyes closed, and then all the different mouth movements. Okay, so that's what a wired mouth movement prop looks like. All right, let me go ahead and close that. All right, now let's take a look at a prop that uses face images. So a megatree or a matrix can use face images. I'll select the megatree here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the model window. I'm going to go over here to the faces option. I'm going to open up and expand this window so it's easier to see. Now, the first thing to notice is there are no node definitions. There are actually files, picture files defined here. But if I click on them, xLight's not going to show me what the images look like. But there are different mouth movement images. All right, let me show you. I'll pull up a image browser and show you what those actual images look like. So this is my werewolf, and these are what the different mouth movement images look like. Now, these are available online. You can download these through xLights or find them in a number of sources. So anyway, let me close this. I will close the face definition window. So one thing to note is xLights will automatically create the mouth and eye movements for you. I'll show you that later in the video. So now that I have explained what a singing prop is, let's move on to the steps to bring a singing prop to life. There are 6 steps in bringing a singing prop to life. In order to bring a prop to life, you need to make the prop a character. Let me explain. First, determine the number of characters and each character's personality in your show. So how many singing props do you have? You'll need at least 2 singing props for a conversation or a skit. I have a total of 4 singing props in my show. 2 singing Christmas trees, a mega tree, and a matrix. Once you know how many singing props you're going to have, then what are the characters' personalities like? Give them names. What are their ages? Are they a young kid, a teenager, an elderly person? What's their personality like? Funny, serious, wise, grumpy? What's the voice style like? Deep, soft, movie intro, high-pitched? For example, my two main characters are singing Christmas tree props. They do not sing or participate in any songs. They're just there to perform a skit. One of them is named after my son Max. He's younger and funny. The other is named after my stepson Jake. He's a little older and more experienced. He's a voice of reason. Then I also have Mega the tree, which is a mega tree with a very deep voice. I also have Marianne the Matrix, who has a sweet and feminine voice. Okay, moving on to the second step, which is determine a voice for each character. You can use voices from family members or friends, or if you're talented enough to create your own voices, then create the voices yourself. That is definitely the easiest way. However, I'm not so talented, so I need to rely on AI tools to create the voices for me. There are many AI sites to choose from, but here are the two that I use for my character voices. First, there is resemble.ai, and the second is 11labs.io. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the websites, but I do want to point out two features. One is called text to speech. That is where you type in text and the audio is generated to match a voice profile. Let me show you an example. I've typed in some text here. I've selected Arthur and I've adjusted some of the voice settings. I'm going to let you hear an example of what it sounds like.
Hello, my name is Jake, and I would like to welcome you to the show.
Sounds like the voice profile, however, it's a bit robotic for me. What I think a better option is speech to speech. Let me move over to 11 Labs. This is where you record your own voice and the audio is generated to match a voice profile. Let me give you an example. I recorded this. I am Megatree, and I have been here since the beginning, and I am the largest propster in the show. Okay, and this is what it generated.
I am Megatree, and I have been here since the beginning, and I am the largest propster in the show.
So to me, that sounds much better. It's much more natural sounding character voices. You have more control over the speed, pauses, tone, expression, and reflections. So you can use a standard voice profile offered by the site, or you can go in and change the voice settings and customize it for your own needs. You may use several voice profiles from different sites, depending on the types of voices that you need. So one tip here is make sure you write down the AI website and voice name along with any voice settings that you use to create your character voices. It may take you some time to find the right voice for your character, and you may go through many different AI sites. So once you find one, write it down so that you'll have those details and you can make the best selection for your character voices. Moving on to the third step, create the script for your characters. Depending on what role your characters play in your display will lay out the basis for the script. For example, the basis for my scripts were the two main characters have lighthearted conversations during the intro, between songs, and at the conclusion. They tell the audience about the show, songs, and introduce other props as well as having a few laughs. Depending on how creative you are, this step may be easy or very difficult for you. This step always takes me some time to create and get it just right. I usually have many revisions before getting the final script just the way I want it. Here are a few tips. Keep the script short, light, and funny to engage the families watching your show. Don't get writer's block. Ask for help. Ask others to listen and provide feedback. Take your time. Know your audience and keep the audience engaged. I'll pull up my script in Word just as an example. This script is a conversation between Max and Jake with a cameo from Mega the Tree. I also take each character's lines and group them together. And I'll explain why I do this shortly. That leads me to the next step. The next step is create character voices for the script. Using the website and character voice profile you picked in step 2, generate script segments for each character. Each character's script can be one file or several files. I try to keep all of a character script in one file, but it doesn't have to be. So moving back to the 11 Labs website, where I showed you an example of speech to speech, or what 11 Labs calls their voice changer, I recorded a script line for Mega the Tree using my voice. Mega the Tree only has one line, but if he had multiple lines, I would record all of his lines at once, adding pauses between each line. This is why I group all the script lines for a character together, as I mentioned in the previous step. So once the voices are generated by the site, download and save the MP3 audio files. I would rename the audio files to the character's name or something that makes sense. For example, Mega-Intro 2. Now you have all your character voices in audio files. That brings me to the 5th step. The 5th step is to create a single audio file of your script. Using an audio editor, cut the character's audio script into a talking dialogue or conversation segments. For example, my character Max talks first, then Jake responds. This dialogue goes back and forth sounding like a normal conversation. I use Audacity to perform my audio editing. Audacity is a free software application, and I've been using it for some time now. I'm not an audio expert, and I don't claim to be. I know just enough to perform some simple editing to create a character track, and that's what I'm about to show you. First, open up the application and drag and drop your character's audio files into Audacity. I've already done that for Max, Jake, and Megatree, and I've hit the mute button on those, and I'll show you why I do that. The next thing you want to do is go into the tracks, add new stereo track. It's going to create it down here at the bottom. Let me click on move to the top. Okay, I'm going to mute that for a second. I'm going to unmute Max. Okay, now follow your script and cut and paste the voice segments from the characters in the correct order. For example, Max talks first, and here's what Max says.
I really like that song. It is one of my favorites.
Okay, that's the first segment. I'm going to cut, Control C, Control V, and I'm going to select this and move it over. Okay, I'm going to set it there. I'm going to mute Max. I'm going to unmute Jake, and I'm going to select here, and I'm going to start.
Yes, mine too, Max. There are many great songs in this year's show. There are more than 15 songs.
Okay, that's the response from Jake. So I'm going to cut and paste and put that next. Now you will continue doing this, cutting and pasting the appropriate segments from each character into the stereo track to make your complete script. Now, once you have that complete, once you have the conversation complete, then, and you're happy, listen to it a few times, adjust the pauses. You can adjust pauses like you can select here like this, and you can move the pauses, make it a little less. You want to unmute, and you want to listen to the entire.
I like that song. It is one of my favorites. Yes, mine too, Max. There are many great songs in this year's show. There are more than 15 songs.
Okay, I think you get the idea. So once you have everything in one stereo track, then you want to export it. Now I've already done that. Let me mute this. I'm going to open up the complete segment. Going to move it to the top. Okay, so here's my actual intro that I'm using. Notice I've added all the different segments, right? There's Megatree, Now, when you're happy with it, you want to do an export. So come up and select the entire file, and then you're going to say File. You're going to export audio. Okay, hold on, it's muted. Let me unmute it. You're going to export, and I export it to the computer. Now, what I use is export current selection. All the other defaults are fine. You'll hit export, and that will be the file that you use for sequencing. So now you have your character script in a single MP3 file. You're ready to begin sequencing, which brings me to the last step. The sixth and final step is sequence the script using xLights. Moving over to xLights, I'm on the Layout tab. Let me switch over to the Sequencer tab. Okay, the first thing you want to do is create a new musical sequence. Let me do that. Click on here. Let me drag this over. All right, musical sequence. Now you're going to select the MP3 file that you just created in Audacity. So select that. I'm going to do 40 frames per second. Quick start to add all the models. Now I've got all the models and the waveform or the audio in xLights. So the first thing you want to do is click on Add, right click, Add Timing Tracks. You want to add timing tracks for each of the characters. So I add one for Max, and one for Jake. Okay. And I'll add one more for Megatree since there is only 3 characters in this script. Okay, now I've added my timing tracks. I want to click on the audio and I want to zoom in. Zoom in quite down to where you can see the audio very clearly. Okay, so the first thing is I'm going to listen and see.
I really like that song.
Okay, this is Max. So I'm going to make sure that you select the timing track for the correct character. I'm going to go in and I'm going to create timing marks for this segment that I'm going to sequence. Let me go ahead and clean this up. I like to get rid of this. Okay, so that's the segment that I'm working on for Max. I'm going to click on the timing label here, and I'm going to paste in the lyrics for that part. I really like that song. So next, I'm going to click on the label and I'm going to say breakdown phrases. Okay, so it will break it down into the actual words. Now, I'm going to listen to this a couple times.
I really like that song.
Okay, then you're going to adjust the words to match the waveform. So I'm going to really like, going to separate this one, that. Going to separate this one, doing this very quickly so we can get through this. Okay, so now let's.
I really like that song. I really like that song.
Okay, that's pretty close. Now, once you've lined a word with the waveform, you want to right click on the word and break down the word into the phonemes. And I'm going to do each one. I know there's a way to do this by grouping them together and selecting them all, but I like to do each one to make sure that each word gets broken down into the correct phonemes. All right, so now that you have it broken down, here's where the magic comes in from xLights. So you want to go over to faces and you want to drag a face onto that character's. So this is Max, so I'd put it on Max. I'm going to click on here. I'm going to select timing mark, and there is Max. So the timing track is called Max. So now if I stop, go back, and we play this.
I really like that song. It is one of my favorites.
Okay, you can see that the magic is happening through xLights. xLights now translates these into mouth movements. So you would continue to do that for your entire script. Okay. So once you've done that, I think you get the idea, right? You would do this until everything is complete. Now, I've already sequenced this script, so let me go ahead and open it up. Okay, discard changes. So this is the full script. I'm going to give you a preview of the first few seconds of this script.
I really like that song. It is one of my favorites. Yes, mine too, Max. There are many great songs in this year's show. There are more than 15 songs. Wow, 15 songs? How does the Christmas light guy find time to create this show?
Okay, if you want to see the full video of this script, please see the link in the description below. In this video, I showed you how to create character voices, edit and create audio files, and create sequences in xLights to make your singing props come to life. Even though there are a number of steps involved in bringing your props to life, it's definitely worth it. Character voices will take your display to the next level. I added 2 new singing props to my display that are dedicated to introducing my songs, show, and other props in my display. And wow, what a difference. Remember the 6 steps. The first step is determine the characters and each character's personality. Number 2, determine a voice for each character. Number 3, create a talking script for your characters. Number 4, create character voices to the script. Number 5, use an audio editor to cut the character's audio into a talking dialogue or conversation segments. And 6 is sequence the scripts using xLights. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned something new from it. If you did and would like to see more tutorials like this, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, The Christmas Light Guy. Remember, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. All you have to do is press the subscribe button below.